Okay. So to finish my thought, I was gonna say, have you ever seen? I think it was Tambourine that Chris Rock did, and he.
Yeah, I seen. I heard about it, but I never seen it.
You never seen it? First of all, you gotta watch it. It's funny. Um,
I only do
I
Chris
think,
Rock.
but I think it was Tambourine when he said that he made that comment about bullies
Mm.
and Trump being the biggest bully. And since they removed bullies from school, people don't know how to deal with that. And as a millennial, if you pay attention to, you're not that much older than me. So, right. So then it would be our, right, age group that they really did make it. I realized as a person, I'm so lazy once all of this happened. Because why am I just going to work? I say every day I go to work, I'm like, I hate being here. I want to go home. I want to go home. I want to go home. I want to go home all the time. And it's like, what am I waiting for to do what I'm supposed to do for myself? And I think that kind of happened for white people, right? Because you said that earlier, like Black people been oppressed. We know what it's like to just be at home and go to work and come home and mind our business because we got enough going on anyway.
Mm.
And I think that a lot of white people are so privileged that when Donald Trump got in office, they realized, dang, like they tell you, don't wait for it to get to you. Help people out when it's them, when it's somebody else, don't wait for it to get to you. And now that Trump's in office, it's at white people. It's like, oh, you're messing with our privileges. And now they all in uproar. Now they want to be in an uproar. And I'll probably get backlash for saying that, but I think it's true. I think that kind of Trump is their savior because it made them have to, like I said, with Black people having to address the church. It made white people have to address the fact that this country ain't shit, and they mix religion into and then they do it in the name of God. That's my point of saying that. And then they do it in the name of God, right? Because they say that you're supposed to keep schools and religion and politics all, separate, but it is all mixed together.
Yeah, you shouldn't keep it separate because it's all one humanity. So, and yeah, I think the Bible talks about false teachers and tell us to beware of them. There's a lot of those who are so they say they pro Bible or they pro God or they pro Jesus, but the guy they talk about is not the guy that I know. And so we gotta be well educated. If we talking about God here, you gotta be well versed in his character. That's the only way you'll know, wait, that don't sound like Jesus. Nah, he wouldn't do that. Put Jesus wouldn't put one race on top of another. Like Jesus wouldn't talk about white power. Jesus wasn't even white; he was Hebrew, so he wouldn't talk about Hebrew power. Like he wouldn't talk about that. Like if you understood his life and how he lived his life, he at the time, women in that time was oppressed, and he employed many women in his ministry. So it's people got a misconception about God and how. And one thing that I noticed, they separate God and action or belief in action. People may say, yeah, I believe in God. Well, you believe that you are, for example, you believe that you love your daughter, right? You believe you love your daughter, so therefore your belief, you will see your belief in your actions, how you take care of her, right? If you believe in God, then your actions should dictate that. You can't say I believe in God, I believe in Jesus, and then say derogatory stuff about Mexicans or any other kind of race, right? You can't say that because that's two contradictory things. So, people just don't know the God that they speak about or the God they think they know. That's my thing.
Yeah. This will be my last one, and then we can wrap.
Yeah.
Do you feel like the church needs to be revamped?
Yeah, we
Like, you know, right? Because we done got all these statues down and all these idols. Can I say this? Like, Jesus died on a stake, right?
he died on the
Not
cross.
he died on the
What
cross, or he died on the stake.
it depends on how you a cross. He died on a cross. Um, most people would I mean, we at the mercy of translators, right? So translators may translate the cross into a stake or the stake into a cross. So he died, right? That's the most important part. Like he was crucified and on something.
The only reason I asked that question is the symbolism,
Yeah.
the heavy cross
Yeah.
symbolism that
Yep.
goes with that image of Jesus dying. Like, it just bothers me because I'm just like, people are so wrapped up in the image that they forget that you can't just look at something and say, oh, I know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
You, like you said, you have to put the work in. And
Mm-hmm.
so me, at least for me, I feel like I've gotten to a space where God is speaking to me again. And so
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be able to put the pieces together for myself. At the same time, I'm always going to ask questions. And I think that's the true God in me. Like, I'm a seeker of knowledge. I
Mm-hmm.
want to know more. I want to believe. It's not that I don't want to believe. I'm just struggling because I have all these bad experiences
Mm-hmm.
tied to church.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
that's why I asked you that. Like, do you feel like the church needs to be like completely done over?
Yeah. No, I don't. And I said this to you before. I don't think the church needs a change. I think the church needs a revival. It needs to be, and you look at what they did back in the 1600s, like it was a revival, like it was back to its original intent.
Right.
It needs to go back. Not that it needs to go live in the past, but it needs to get back to its original roots.
More community,
Yeah,
more like
yeah.
love, more love.
But it's not.
The church
It's
to me
yeah.
like
It's
it feels cold.
the
It is.
we need to start. Just it's we are complex and God is complex.
Right.
Uh, the gospel is complex in a way, but it's all simple,
Right.
right? Just get back to the simplicity of it,
Mm.
right? Instead of um, complicating it. It's and you talk about the cross. The cross is the greatest paradoxy out there. Like, yeah, it's a symbol. Is a symbol of the most excruciating death one can ever come across. But at the same time, you're supposed to be like, oh man, you're supposed to feel that heaviness. Are you supposed to? But then at the end, you're supposed to feel joy because that was all for you. So it's like, and then you're supposed to feel happy. And all that's because you won't be transformed unless somebody you won't follow somebody unless you know that that cost that person something.
Hmm.
So many people would say, I don't believe I believe the God of hell, and that God won't send us everybody to hell. I believe in a God of love, and God won't send anybody to hell. But I'm saying, what did that God cost? Like, it has to cost something.
Right.
Right? It gotta cost you something to follow someone. Right? And for Jesus, it cost him his life. But the joyous part is that he didn't just stay dead, like he rose from the grave, and so it is a happy ending. But like you said, I think you are a seeker, because you can't see God without God. Like, you need God. So the fact that you're asking these questions, knowing the history that I know about you, like I feel like you're on the right path. Questions need to be asked, because if you don't know something, you ask questions.
Right. I feel
And
like
so,
we lost that as a people. Why
yeah,
does no one ask questions anymore?
and the church, but the church, and we talk about the church. I think, and I didn't grow up in the church. Well,
Right.
I grew up as a Jehovah's Witness, but I didn't grow up in the church culture. Like, I didn't, church for us was at grandma's house, right? that wasn't that was the church for us. So I didn't go. So I would say I have an advantage because I don't know the church culture, but from what I've know, the church is so man, sometimes we can be shallow, man, and not really, and we treat people that are really seeking, asking questions, and we treat them like they condemn. No, they asking questions. So it's nothing to listen. And I think that should, when church folk, when they are when they get upset,
They don't want you to ask a question.
I feel that's a sign of insecurity. So you can't be insecure about what you believe in. Like
Right.
you should be okay to say, hey, if somebody asks you,
I don't
why
know.
do
You should
feel
be
like?
okay to say, I don't know. I'm not sure.
Of course. Why?
Because you're not all-knowing.
Right. I think people, church folk, put a lot of pressure on themselves. Like it's nothing, man. At the end of the day, it's God that people have to deal with. It's not you. Like you just doing your best. You just sharing the best news that you have.
You said the insecurity, and I think that they
Yeah.
spread that.
It's
I'm not sure. Like, and I know I'm supposed to know.
No,
And I'm not supposed to know everything. You're not. But okay, Shadai.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm glad we had this conversation. No, I'm just saying, like, because we could go on and on all day.
Right.
But
No, I
I'm
get
glad
it.
we had this conversation, and I'm super happy for you to be the first person to do my pilot episode with, and hopefully that goes viral and everybody loves us. And we make $1 million.
Yeah. Yeah. You said yeah. No, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just excited to see.
I'm excited too.
I'm happy to share this moment with you.
I'm excited for you because this is a great outlet for you. It's a great idea. Knowing what I know of you, it's a great outlet to just get out what you've been thinking or your thoughts. So, 2 thumbs up.
Because as a true millennial, I am ADHD. I got a lot of thoughts going on up here at all times.
Yeah.
But yeah,
all right.
Like I said, I'm happy, and hopefully we'll have another conversation.
Right.
soon.
Okay. All right.
I love you, cousin.
All right. Love you too.
Bye.